I think gratitude is really important. So I think that being grateful for the people that have gotten you there actually has a twofold purpose, not only to express appreciation, but then also to ensure that those people are going to be in your network going forward. So I think that gratitude is something that is kind of underestimated and kind of overlooked, especially in business.
Welcome to Success Superstars, episode number 143, and your place for inspiration and the blueprint for success for peak performers just like you. My special guest this morning, Sofia Babool. Sofia, welcome.
Thank you. How are you?
I'm doing amazing and so excited to have you on the show today. You know, normally we have one of my associates and real estate professionals, but it's so cool to have a future doctor and a current student who started a recent business.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
Obviously, being a student as successful as you are, you know, doesn't come easy. How are you organizing both your studies and being a student and starting to kick off this business? How are you managing all those things together?
Yeah, so I think that the most important thing is having a social support network. So a lot of my family takes pride in the fact that everybody has a role. And I think that the most important thing in starting a business at all is making sure that you have a team that's ready to support you every step of the way and every challenge of the way, and there to celebrate every success that you have as well. So I think that the most important thing is everybody takes a role. You delegate, you divide, you prioritize, and that's how I'm able to finish my schoolwork, but then still keep the business as a priority and make sure that both are successful in their own right.
Right. Well, has it been easy?
For the past 5 years, ever since we started, so for the past 5 years, I guess I had just finished high school and I was going into college, and my brother and I had this idea, and it's not been easy, especially during COVID, but especially during COVID, we actually saw immense growth just because nobody wants to be going to an actual physical location. So online tutoring really took this huge boost. But the issue is that with a lot of people, a lot of customers, people who are interested in our business, you also have a lot more responsibility. There are more people to please and there are more people to satisfy. And it's just really important to make sure that you are ready for whatever comes. So the opportunity was there, but thankfully we were prepared as a staff and as a family to allow for that growth to occur. So we were able to handle it. But I think that a huge learning from all of this was that if you don't have the right people on your team, then it's difficult to kind of approach opportunity with the sense of, yes, I'm going to be able to actually take advantage of this rather than let it slip through my fingers. But actually, COVID was allowing a lot of our businesses to boom, and it really did help. But yeah, it was challenging for sure.
Well, so one of the things, one of the philosophies we have here at JPAR is we solve problems for a profit. And one of the challenges that our associates have is hiring their first assistant, hiring their first staff member. And we just completed a comprehensive guide to hiring your first staff member and the steps and best practices. Yes. So that's, in a sense, what you're saying is, you know, having yourself surrounded by the staff and resources you discovered through Hard Knocks is super important.
Absolutely. That is so essential. And I think that whenever we're hiring anybody at all, we go through this very extensive interview process. But overall, I think one thing that we look for is the ability to communicate with another person and how I try to not say this too deliberately, but I think that communication can either make or break a lot of the relationships that we try to create with our customers, right? To be able to communicate with somebody that's professional and respectful, but also makes them feel like at home and making sure that they feel like they belong there. That's as important as being professional. So I think that communication is like one of the biggest things that we look for whenever we hire somebody else, you know?
We call it building rapport.
Yes,
right?
For sure.
Rapport, and there's a number of great books written about building rapport. One of them, I can't think of the title of it, is from my acquaintance who was an FBI interrogator who wrote about how they build rapport, you know, with the people they're interrogating, right, to get them to release information. So I'll get the name of that and post it on a future episode. Well, so what's the vision? What's the dream of the tutoring business?
Yeah. So the vision is, how do we prepare the next generation of students to not learn based on just rote memorization, but to actually want to learn? I think that, more and more, and I think I saw a fact once that said that we take in 11 million pieces of information every single day. So there's just so much stimuli out there. But there also, I think, needs to be an inner drive, an inner desire to actually learn about what's out there, learn about different types of subjects and different types of fields. And I think that more and more, a lot of different fields are becoming a lot more interconnected with other fields. Like medicine, for example, is not just medicine alone. It might have an aspect of engineering or biomed, or might have an aspect of even like I was reading an article just the other day where NASA was looking at how can a human being survive in space for a long period of time. So there's space and medicine coming together, and nobody would really think a couple years ago that that would be the case. So I think that the goal is to make sure that students are prepared for whatever they choose to go into, and to constantly want to go learn about other things. Because I think that typically whenever we go to college, we say, oh, this is my major, but that doesn't really mean much, because just because you're a specific major doesn't mean you have to only stay in that lane, right? We want to encourage people to try other lanes and to kind of move around and to see what they will be most successful at, but then go after it fully and wholeheartely. That way they become the best at whatever they do decide to end up doing.
I read the same stat of all of the information that's coming at us. I forget, it's this tremendous amount. So it's even more important to be able to say no.
I think that's also one of the hardest things to do, though, to be able to say, well, this opportunity looks really attractive, but maybe it's not the time for it, or maybe it's not the right place for me to be. And I think that that knowledge takes a lot of practice. I think like I have trouble with that too, saying no to things that maybe aren't the best way to spend my time. But I think that that's also a practice to be able to say, hey, like I recognize this as an opportunity, but maybe not now. So I think that also comes with time management. To be able to say yes to more things that matter also means that you're taking care of other priorities at an appropriate time as well.
Well, and really knowing what your mission and purpose is. At the firm I was with before, JPAR, we basically were pitched a new business idea almost every single day. And you've heard Jeff Bezos and others say, it's not ideas. There's always another business idea around the corner. It's execution, and is it the right timing? Well, so
sure.
As you think about your success as a student and not yet into the world of business and commerce, what would you want to share with the audience about being successful, achieving your goals, and basically having a startup business?
Yeah, so I don't want to act like, I've achieved everything that I've kind of set out to do, but I will say for the things that have been achieved, I think gratitude is really important. So I think that being grateful for the people that have gotten you there actually has a twofold purpose, not only to express appreciation, but then also to ensure that those people are going to be in your network going forward. So I think that gratitude is something that is kind of underestimated and kind of overlooked, especially in business. But I think that really nobody gets to where they are without somebody else's help. And I think that understanding that no matter where you go, connections can totally be made. It can be an elevator or a restaurant or the mall or Walmart. Like, I think one of the most important things is get the word out there that you have something that is worthy of somebody else's time and money. And I think that the most important thing is, can you make those connections in places where you may not even think that they were possible? So I think that that's one aspect of success, gratitude and communication. I think another aspect of success is also just the idea that nothing is really done without some aspect of knowledge and skill. So I think that with business, a lot of people say that business in itself is a type of education. And I cannot agree with that more, just because I think the actual aspect of finding a place, getting a lease, making sure you have customers, building rapport, as you were talking about, all of that has to be experienced, and only then do you learn about it. So I think that the most important thing after gratitude and communication is just to be able to say, I'm going to develop the skills and the expertise, so then I have the legitimacy to talk about this. So I think that being continuously upgrading yourself and your skills is really important. That way, when you go and start a business in a brand new field that maybe people don't know about, people will come to you because of the knowledge that you have because you are credible and because you are legitimate. So I would say gratitude, communication, and then upgrading yourself constantly.
And skills, for sure.
Yeah.
You know, practicing the skills. And having, like you said, a compelling value. You know, one of the things we're facing in our industry, Sofia, is we're going to enter January 2021 with 50% of the inventory real estate housing stock that's needed for the demand out there. And we've created a program called JPAR Sure Sale, where the consumers can sell their home traditionally. They can trade it almost as easy as like trading your car, one home for another, a swap, or we'll buy it outright. And all three of those, our associates are equipped to present to the modern day consumer and give them options. So it's pretty exciting for us.
Yeah, it's very exciting.
Well, we're excited to have you on the show. We want to have you back and learn more about your business and how that could help. You know, our folks are always looking for ways to help their customers, and many of them in this time are looking for online tutorials for their children and grandchildren.
Absolutely. Yeah, no, I would be happy to talk about that as well.
How do we find your website?
Yeah, so you can just go to Bright Owl or just go through Google and type in Bright Owl, but that's the name of the company. And basically what we do is K through 12 tutoring via a subscription model. So every month we have a specific curriculum that we give to a student, and then we do reassessments to make sure that they are progressing over the time that they've joined. And then we make sure that we give them report cards or progress reports to make sure that we can actually track their progress via data that we develop.
Oh, that's awesome. Well, congratulations on your success. And we're so glad that you joined us today on this episode of Success Superstars.